I'm Mike Sullivan. Okay, it's the beginning of the golf season. It's a beautiful time of year, and so many people are coming out, dusting off their golf games, and the problems they're having is they're hitting iron shots that are not solid. They're hitting a lot of sliced and weak drives. And one of the biggest problems we're seeing is that people are lifting their hands up in their backswing, they're tilting their shoulders, and what we want to do is get them to turn their hips and turn their shoulders. So coming up next, we're going to show you the difference between lifting and turning and how to put more of that turn into your golf swing. Okay, so as I mentioned a second ago, boy, we are just getting going in golf season, and people are coming out and they're getting back into golf, which is awesome. So what is going on with all the frustration? So what we see is, you know, when we swing a golf club, essentially what we're doing is we're making circles around our body, right? The thing is, when we set up to our ball, we've got this tilt of our torso. We call that a secondary spine tilt. And I've mentioned this before if you watched other videos. Our primary spine tilt, by the way, is this tilt as we're down the target line. But we're talking about the secondary spine tilt right now. So when we set up to the golf ball, our back hand, or for a right-handed golfer, our right hand is lower on the club than our left hand, and you can see that my right shoulder is lower. And the way that I'm achieving this is I'm tilting my spine a little bit. So when I get to my backswing, I'd love to maintain that orientation of my spine where I've got that tilt maintained. And what's happening is I'm turning my shoulders here to create my backswing. If you put yourself on video, grab your phone and just put the phone out in front of you, take a look at how you're taking that club back. Watch my back hip. This could be you. So you'll see as my back hip slides back, my spine angle gets reversed. Okay? The thing is this, when you get back to impact, when you get back to hitting the ball, you're going to have to correct that spine tilt. And what happens is, to some degree, and everyone's a little different how they make compensations, but in some degree what happens is we make this improper movement here, and then to get back to hitting the ball, we have to make the correction, and my body starts working way out ahead of my hands, so to speak, and then I end up, when I get down towards the ball, having to get really, really handsy to hit the ball. And boy, that results in out to in swing paths, which are pulls and slices. It results in scooping, weight falling on the back foot, which is going to give you thin shots and fat shots. So all the frustrating stuff about golf, or a lot of it anyway, is really coming from this basic failure to turn our hips and shoulders, as opposed to, boy, the people who are getting into sliding that hip back, we call it a reverse pivot. And you also notice that instead of turning, I'm really picking the club up with my hands and with my arms. All right, so I want to show you a drill that you really should do. Do it at home in the mirror, okay? Set up to a mirror. You don't need a ball in front of you. Whoop. Put a golf club right up on your shoulders. You're bending from the hips a little bit, okay? Just like in your golf setup, you're bending from the hips, all right? I'm going to nudge my hip towards the target a little bit, and so I've got my tilt. And I'm going to turn back my shoulders, and I'm also going to turn my hips a little bit. Notice how my back hip is not moving back at all. So what I would do is, as you're looking in the mirror, pick out a spot behind your hip that you can see, and see if you block it. Oh, that would not be good. Or if you can continue to see that spot. You want to see space back behind here, and that's a real good indication that you're using your hips and shoulders the right way. We call this the pivot. And it takes a little time to learn, because you're doing two things at once. You know, your hips are kind of swiveling out this way towards the target, and your shoulders are kind of moving back over your backside. All right? So really all we're doing is, and again, if I was to stand straight up in the air like this, with no spine tilt, and turn my shoulders and hips, See, I never get my shoulders back. I never get really back on my weight on my back side at all. All right? And that's because there's no tilt to my spine. If I tilt my spine and make the same movement, now I'm coiled up behind the ball. Now I'm in a position where like a baseball player would be able to hit a baseball, or a golfer would be able to hit a golf ball. Okay, this is a very simple concept, but it's super duper important, and it's not all that easy to pick up. You're not going to watch this video and then step up on the first tee and all of a sudden everything's going to be great. All right, but boy oh boy, if we can get this working, then we're in great position to be able to unwind our lower body, just like you would throw a ball sidearm, and be able to come into that ball with our hands leading, weight forward, club coming from the inside of the target line, all that good stuff. And I know I'm throwing out a lot of jargon here. We have a lot of videos that explain all these different concepts, all right? So if you can get that pivot working for you, boy, oh boy, you're gonna hit more solid shots, you're gonna hit more greens, you're gonna hit more fairways, and your golf game is going to be a whole lot more fun.